Okay, alright guys, I'm trying to keep two computers going here, one I can view and the other one obviously I'm recording on, so there you are. Anyway, nice to see you all. Alex Mitchell just coming in, waving. Okay, right, well I think I'm just about sorting this out, boys. Okay, right there. Let me just turn the sound down. Yeah, I don't want to be able to listen to myself, do I? Paul Jackson, Jason Grant. Nice to see you boys. In this bloody lockdown thing. Yeah, right. I'll just give it a minute or two, just so a few others can. Get on the street. Jason Grant, Craig Whiskey Walker, that's a good name. Right, Craig. Yeah, I haven't met any of you boys, like, I've seen a lot over the years fishing, and I've said hello. Oh, Mark, he just asked a question. What advice would you give to someone who hasn't much experience on the pole? I love my feeder too much. Yeah, I know, it's easier to just bulk it out. They should call that the pig, didn't they, years ago? Because it was so easy to catch fish on it. But obviously, once you realise it's a bit more than that now these days, it's a lot more, lot more into that. Well, I'll come back and try and answer that after if I can. I just want to basically go through Neil, waving, Cy Roberts. Yeah, I just want to go through a little bit. Guys who really don't know me, I'm admin of this group, and I set this up a couple of years ago. David Shipley, Sean Pope. So I set it up, and it was really something to do, I've been running a fishing page, Angling News, for quite a few years, and of course Facebook was quite new, really, 10 years ago when I first joined it. And anyway, a couple of years ago I decided to have a little match page, so a couple of anglers can have a little chat together. Anyway, it become, I see Dale, Paul, Paul Turner. Yes, it become a bit of a monster, really, because, it was people who using this group to try and sell their gear, which is fine. I didn't mind that at all. But what happened in the end was that I was inundated with, people, putting lists and lists of stuff on you. But anyway, thankfully it's grown. I've got, nearly 21,000 on this group now, which is fantastic. Dominic waving. Oh, Elizabeth, we've had that ups and downs, haven't we? Yeah, but, over the years I've met some great lads fishing, we all fall out now and again, don't we, but at the end of the day we're all fishermen, we're all anglers together, and we all like to compete, especially if you're match fishing. So anyway, so people who don't really know me, I suppose I've been match fishing since I was a young lad, and it wasn't really until about 1981 that I become known, if you like, in the angling world. Oh, it's John Cookson, there's a alright mate, Michael Polston as well. Yeah, they're all regulars now. So what it was, 1981, never forget, the Welsh team decided to enter a team in the World Championships, and thankfully it was a local water on the Welsh Raven at Luddington, and that's all right, Neil. So anyway, the Welsh team, we weren't that far away. We were only an hour and a half away. We used to go up and practice, and it was very similar to the waters we fished back home, really. River Taff, the River Usk, the Wye, perhaps a little finer, that's all. Russell. Anyway, so we ended up having eliminators between the squad and Andy Rawlings. We managed to, if you like, finalise a team by the end of, a few weeks' practice. And in my opinion, I think it was quite a good team at the time. And anyway, we entered it. We didn't know really what to expect. We thought, yeah, we'd, we could do quite well on the stick float, the waggler. And anyway, basically, it's all history now, because the Welsh team, we came third. England was second, and France, fishing the pole, won the event, on the Warwickshire Avon. I'll never forget, we had a bronze medal for it. See him in the back, my medals. That was great, because on the first day I was third, which was good, First time I ever experienced the groundbait, bombardment of groundbait. And of course that was all new in them days, same as pole fishing. And we were on a big learning curve then, obviously, for a few years after, we never really done anything, Right, Adam, Fred, Matty, Jeff, Gareth, oh, he's always on you. Yeah, so we never done any, and there's a couple of reasons why we didn't particularly do any good, because, obviously there was some really good international teams in them days. And not only that, it was the groundbait really, which we didn't have an angle to, I think obviously the English team did, they seemed to, well, it was in Italy then, 85, that England won their first gold medal championships, and I was there, I was fortunate that I was in that era that I knew all the greats, obviously Bob, good friend of mine now, Bob Nudd, Kevin Ashurst, who was always my boyhood hero, yeah, and of course, Dennis White, Tom Pickering, all them. I got to know them pretty well, and in a sense, we were learning off them. Although they didn't realise, we were getting friendly, have a drink with them after, and we got very friendly. All right, Barry and Russell Graves. Yeah. So anyway, that's what happened. We basically didn't do anything at all. We were just, because in them days, all there was in them days was just normal breadcrumb, groundbait. That's all we, of course the Continentals had it off to a fine art. They had all the, all the ingredients, if you like, and so, we were on a big learning curve in them days. And Mark, all right, Mark, Steve Bogey, all right. Yeah, so anyway, what happened, oh yeah, all right guys, yeah, what happened was that when I was actually, when I came runner-up in the World Championships, that was in 1986, by then we'd learned a little bit about the groundbaits, and we started to maybe use it to our advantage, and we ended up, well, I was second on the first day in 1986, and the second day I was second again. I was runner-up, but that was using the waggler, and that's another story. In fact, in my autobiography, which that's back to front there, isn't it? Anyway, in my autobiography, I write all about what happened, and in fact, if you go on YouTube, I've actually narrated. I talk about the World Championships, and all right, Alan, Alan Lockwood. Yeah, so it's nice to see a few, lads on you. Of course, I know a few of you, from on the riverbank, and of course, there's a lot I get to know now on Facebook. I mean, it's a bit of a saviour in a way, isn't it? This Facebook and the internet, because with this lockdown, it's I've never known it in my life. Well, nor has anyone else I know. But the fact is, it's so frustrating not being able to go and do anything, and being locked down. It's all right, Mark David Scott, Alan Lockwood, yeah. Anyway, so we've got to make our most of it, obviously, I think as anglers generally, when we get out there eventually, we're going to be so well prepared, it might be harder to win a competition, perhaps. Yeah, so anyway, yeah, as I said, it's all done preparation, match fishing, like anything, People say you're lucky. Well, you make your own luck in life, don't you? The more you practice, the luckier you become. Raymond? Okay, Raymond Packman. Yes, anyway, so as I said, when I when I did eventually win the World Championships, again, it wasn't on the groundbait, it was on the waggler. And it was a great match, never forget. Had my I had some really good competition. There was about 4 of us in a line, and it was fantastic because I had Dennis right next to me, Kevin Ashurst, Tom Pickering, all in a line we were. And anyway, we ended up, I wanted to beat Kevin only by a few ounces, but it was a fantastic experience for me, What's Gareth asking? How much have you learned from the Continental lads with the groundbaits? Well, I'm going to talk about that shortly because, we probably don't know a tenth of what they know, but, it took me years. I was invited, many years ago to go to France. I was over in France with a company called Water Queen, and I was there for about a month, and I learned a lot. But of course, with the groundbaits, Gareth, what happened was that we had to learn, and I got very friendly with a lot of good anglers like Van der Nijnd, the Dutch team. They were very good. Obviously the Italians, the French, they all had their different methods, they all had their different ingredients, but they all seemed to work. But they learned off each other a lot quicker than we did, I think. Okay, John Chapman, Michael Watton, yep. So, as I say, yes, we probably, I think we have caught up, to be honest. In fact, in some cases, I think we've overtaken the Continental anglers on certain things. As you all know, I make a brand of my own groundbait. I said I wasn't going to push it, but I've learned, as you say, over the years, through the Continental lads and the ingredients, and as I say, it was still learning. Match anglers are always learning, and I know I'm asked questions sometimes, to me, it's normal and natural, obviously, because I'm nearly 70 now, and to think I was 35 when I won the World Championships. I started when I was 12. I've got a lot of years' experience behind me, and of course, I've learned a lot, and I'm more than happy to pass it on. In fact, I was talking to Bob the other day. We were talking about this, and we were saying it's nice to actually give something back to anglers sometimes, because it's been good to us over the years, I suppose. Nigel Baker, I like mate. Yeah. So anyway, after winning the World Championships, I suppose it was still quite new in them days. In the fact that learning continental style of fishing, pole fishing, etc. But I always did say that. If we were ever going to compete, it was going to be on our methods, like the wagglers and that, So, I like Chris Cooper, Nigel Baker, yeah. Anyway, and so we ended up doing okay, and then the Welsh team actually won again in 1989, and again, we won on the waggler, and it was fantastic, because, obviously, beating England, our friends, really, but they're our competitors. Unfortunately, being Welsh always alienates me a little bit. Andy, oh, Max, hey, Max. Yeah, I was hoping to get Max on here, and he said you'll have a think about it. So, as I said, over the years, fishing to our strengths, that was the only chance that I think the Welsh team. And of course, you probably all know that I think we went 20 years without Wales winning a thing. And then we had a new manager. In my opinion, a great guy, Andy Johnston from the RAF. He came along and he managed to get Wales back on the top spot. I mean, they were out of the top 10 for 20 odd years, and fair dues to Andy. They went over and they won the European championships. Not as good as the gold, not as good as the world champs, but brilliant, fantastic. Anyway, so as I said, so over the years. I've got lots of experience, I suppose, and I do go back, as I say, to the Max Winters days. Alan Taylor, all right. John Bull, hi mate. Yeah, so that's basically my history of the guys who don't know me. I mean, a lot of people will know me. And as I said, I set this page up, obviously for anglers to be able to, post things, learn off each other. And if they got tackle for sale, I have changed the post slightly on this because, tell you what's happened, I was getting so many people trying to sell things that there was hardly any content on there, and that's why you know, in the end I changed the group slightly. I mean, still sell your items if you want to, lads. You know, it's not, I've got a problem on that. But you may have noticed lately a lot of videos coming on here. That's down to a guy named Liam Dale, who I got to know. He's from Thailand. And when I was over, as you know, I go to Thailand a couple of times now, the last couple of years, and I never really met him. I only met him on the internet, and we got talking, and I was quite surprised who he, you know, what he'd done. In fact, he bought the Clean River videos. Hi, Scott. Yes, Garth, you're right there. Do need a new manager. Yeah, but there you are. I think, you know, you need a bit of time and a bit of money, I think, behind you to do it properly. You know, I mean, we had probably the best manager ever in John Mayers, because, to be honest, he just let the anglers carry on, you know, and devise their own plan. And you know, there was no interference by the manager that did them. He always did the admin side of it, which is fantastic, you know. All right, Scott. Right, greetings to Clive, our friends there from famous hot water stretch in Ireland. Oh yes, yeah. Well, I fished Ireland many years. As I said with Bob the other day, you know, last time I went to Ireland 2 years ago. I hadn't been there for 20 odd years, and that's what basically I got. You know, first time I met Bob then for 20 odd years. I've known him for 35 years, I think. Yeah, on the old Lano when, as I say, when we fished in the World Championships. First, second, and third. Who's that? Who said that? That was Lee Butler. Well, I'll tell you now, Lee. In my day, of course, as I say, I'm going back to the legends of the sport. You know, the pioneers, I call them, because we were then. You know, and it was a different kettle of fish. Kevin Ashurst was the man at the time. I remember him as a lad. He was always in the papers writing articles, and as I got to know Kevin later on in the years, he actually I got friendly with him. You know, in the World Championships, and it was great. Like, he actually won it in 82. You know, in Ireland. That was fantastic. I never forget that. Very low weight, but as I said, I got to know Kevin, and he was my hero, and you know, in a way he still is, because you know, he a lot of anglers all looked up to him, and you know, he I know I love these polls that the guys are putting up, because I think that's fantastic. Oh, it's Russell Graves here. When you're down here at John Harvey's in Thailand, I hope to get there at the end of the year. Yeah. So in them days, as I said, Ivan Marks, I got to know him quite well. He used to call me the Welsh Wizard. Good old Ivan. Of course, in them days, yeah, I suppose Kevin, Ivan, Bob now. I mean, Bob Nudd now. I mean, you know, what a guy. I mean, bloody hell, he's still going on now. I think he's a little bit older than me, I'm not sure. But he's still doing fantastically well, you know. So yes, there are a few other. I mean, this day and age is all completely different, of course. You know, commercials, and in a way, you know, in the 90s when commercial come onto their own, I didn't particularly follow that route. I stuck to the natural venues. I did have a go at commercials, and but of course that's where the money was in the end of the day, wasn't it? I mean, that's where the big bucks. You know, I remember Phil Briscoe saying to me I should try and fish a couple of them, but I never did get round to it. And of course he went on, and you know, the Maver Championships, all these big pole championships, 50 grand a time. So you know, and so when you look at some of the guys, you know, like Andy May and Jamie Hughes and Steve Ringer and Andy Power, here's another one. You know, I take my hat off to them, because they're the new generation, you know. Of course, different type of fishing than what we done and what I still do now. Anyway, hi Ron Clark, Russell Graves, when you down you, okay, yeah, I already said that. So as I said, this Facebook page was great, and as I say, it helps to keep us all, you know, in communication with each other. And I'm hoping as I say, to get more anglers on you, to be able to do their little bit of a talk, show you some methods, techniques, and you know, as I say, we're always learning. Even I'm learning, even to this day, you know. So yeah, as I say, over the years, fishing's been good to me. You know, I met a lot of good friends. I also, unfortunately, tend to fall out with a lot of people as well. Maybe I speak my mind too much, I don't know. But anyway, it's one of those things. Yeah, I love the Riverfest finals. That's one of the things that I think great. I mean, I qualified 4 out of 5 times, so, you know, as I say, I still like to have a go at it. River Wye, still fishing River Wye. This year I'll be going back up the Avon. I didn't fish it so much last year. I was more fishing over Bristol. Of course, you know, it costs an arm and a leg to go back fishing these days. I'm working out, you know, to go to Evesham, for example. You know, first of all, you got to get your bait. What's that? Casters, maggot, temp, etc. 20 quid's worth. Petrol there and back another 20 quid. The pool's 30. Then you got your breakfast. You know, you're talking about 80, 90 quid to fish a match these days, unfortunately. And so that's why I tend to fish a bit more local now. And thanks, looks like Colonel Sound is itching again. Oh, no, I should shave it off, really. Yeah, fishing more local. I think, you know, that's the way it's going to go. I've got a great venue down our way, Port Talbot. You know, I've had some good weights last year, £53 on the waggler roach up in the water, and I've had 50 odd pound of bream on the feeder. So, you know, it's a great venue. As I say, yeah, it's. So anyway, let's have some, right, what's this? What you're doing, Clive? Keep chain. All right, Bob. What groundbait mix would you choose from your range to fish with squat and pinky on a canal? Well, it's funny you should say that, John, because if you actually go to my website, www.goldmedalgroundbaits.co.uk, you will see the full range, and there's a new range I added, and it was only because my knowledge on the ingredients of groundbait now, somebody asked me that they want to fish a canal and they want to catch gudgeon, you know, what's in there, gudgeon, perch, skimmers. So I thought, right, well, I know for a fact that gudgeon love garlic, yeah, you know. Perch like the blood, and of course roach, they like a little banana seed, and the skimmers like a bit of fish meal. So I made a concoction, and anyway, I sent it up to this one guy, and he came back, he said, fantastic, got loads of fish on it. So that's my little groundbait mix for that anyway. What's this? Phil, what's he saying? Oh, he's replying to Phil, okay. Yeah, the best groundbait, in my opinion, is mole. It's free, and you can mix it with, you can bulk up other groundbaits, and that is a secret that I learned after Continental anglers all them years ago with the amount of lean they put in their groundbait. Of course, as you know, fish will eat groundbait, and if you've got lean in it, they won't eat that, will they? You know, so add in lots and lots of lean, or in our case, molehill. As long as you sieve it, bake it in the oven, you know. You've got to do a little bit of work to it, but yeah. Hiya Mark Sweeney, Frank Blue, hiya mate. So yeah, that's my little secrets on groundbait, but you can learn more if you go over to the website and have a look. But anyway, as I said, this Facebook page is great for for people who want to keep in contact, and these videos that we've been putting up, I know they're a bit dated, but you can still learn a lot. It amazes me when I see Mark Downs and Bob, and they're playing these fish on a long pole, and there's no puller bugs like, and I think, oh, one of the bloody poles used to slap me them days. But anyway, that's what's this, Russell? When you look at these weights, etc., from commercials, these kids, yeah, they got to be physically fit. Yeah, something I probably couldn't do. Although saying that, when you fish the Wye and you're catching like £100 of bloody dace or chub, then you still got his, I qualified the year before, 2 years ago on the Wye, 50 odd pound of chub, and they're only small ones, and that was hard work. Yeah, as I said, qualified for the Riverfest there. So, but there you are. Yeah, so these poles, now they're very interesting when people put them up, and I'm more than welcome for people to, you know, to put their little pole up. And what's that, Julian? Coriander? Yes, coriander is in the mix, some of them, yeah. Mark, I was going to say, oh yeah, do you learn? Yeah, you can learn from your videos, of course you can, yeah. I mean, you know, there's lots of things. Do you know, Paul, what's Paul saying? How do you control the breakdown of groundbait once in swim, only not? Well, again, that's all down to the consistency of the ingredients. You know, as I say, lean, depends how you mix it. You can get lean to bind the groundbait together, and by a bit of practice, you can time it to break up over, you know, a while, over an hour or two. You know, it's the same like if you ever mix fine maize or fine crumb, you know, that'll bind together, and that'll take ages to break down in the swim. So yeah, there's lots of things that you can do, and again, it's a bit more in it, you know, for me to go into it this moment, like. But yeah, I'll be more than happy to, you know, to answer that, you know, in more detail, you know, later. What's this? How do you pick the? Yeah, okay. Hi, Steve Heath. Any information recommended on 16-car poles? Right. Well, as I say, I'm not really into the commercial side of it. Although last year, a friend of mine, Jan, we set up a little company buying and selling tackle. You know, trouble is the overheads were killing us, so. You know, but we were buying a lot of poles and reselling them. You know, and the Maver ones look really good. You know, I don't know the actual numbers of them, but yeah, I think that would be better. You know, a question, Steve, if you ask like Bob or someone who's more into. In fact, I tell you, who was on here yesterday, and that was. Richard Chave, now, you know, Colmick, now they got a good range of poles, so, you know, it might be a good idea to sort of ask him, you know. Hi, Carl's watching. Anyway, so, yeah, so, as I say, when it comes down to this Facebook page, and, you know, people might wonder sometimes when they post things that it doesn't get posted. Well, the only reason I don't put them up, and I might have mentioned this earlier, because I have to approve most things, because some people put a load of rubbish up. Some, you know, I can't have that, you know. So, and I think it's helped to grow the post in a sense. And anyone using bad language, you've noticed they're off, you know. So as I say, I try and keep it clean, and you know, and not only that, you know, when people post the same thing twice, you know, or 3 times, then it's pointless me doing it, you know, just the once will be enough. And people, when they used to sell their items, they used to try and clog the pages up by putting all their gears, you know, you know, if you're going to sell anything, put it on just one post, because, you know, people get to see it anyway. David Gordon, hi mate. What's that? Have you got any float designs that you made, Clive? Yes, I got loads. Yeah, well, I got another company. I tell you what happened, again, going back to the old World Championships International days, a lot of floats we couldn't buy over this country, and so we had to end up making them, you know, as I said, and so I made a little website called goldmedalfloats.co.uk, and if you ever want to have a look there, because all the floats I've ever used, and then, you know, and the way they're used is very interesting to some people, you know, and even commercials on there, commercial floats. Hi David. Oh, Michael. Michael from Thailand. He's a great fan of mine. He's always on there. We're always talking. What's the flat floats for running water on? Well, I made some flat floats. I call them bat floats. Mag. And the beauty of these, this is a big one, mind. This is meant for the Y. And the reason I made this is basically you can use it not just on the pole, but you can actually use it on a rod and line. And you can trot a swimmer, you can trot it right down to the very end and hold it still. You know, When I used to make these, they were more of a triangle. The trouble is, when you used to hold them back, the tip would come out the water. But now they're designed in such a way that you know, it shouldn't come out of the water. So when you hold it back, just say it. Yeah, go to the website and have a look and explain a lot more about it on there. Oh, hiya, Mark. My namesake, Branson. I had a brother, Mark, unfortunately passed away 2 years ago. So, and I got to know this Mark now, who's from down Somerset way, down the south anyway. And I wonder whether we are related. You never know, do you? Are they in stock, Mark Sweeney? I make them to order, mate. So yeah, as I say, go over to the website and have a look. Hiya, James Wilson. Okay, right. Yeah. So right, talking about floats now. Or talking about innovations, because when I after the, you know, I suppose I made my name in the late 80s and 90s, you know, after, you know, becoming so successful in the World Championships, and I went on to write a lot of articles, and I think I was the first one to actually make the fishing videos. The only ones before then were Ian Heaps, and they were in conjunction with the Irish Tourist Board. So I thought, cut long story short, I was in the video business, and one of the lads said to me, one of the other shop owners I knew, he said, oh, I got a friend of his coming down from London, who's a keen fisherman, and, you know, he wants to have a word with you. Anyways, I met up with him, and he said to me, how do I fancy making some fishing videos? I said, oh, yeah, be good, I'd like to do that. You know, do, you know, sort of teaching, tuition, and that's what happened. And they were born. I went to Denmark, went there for a week, made a couple of videos, and come back. The company Clean River Videos was formed, and I introduced them to Dave Hall, and Dave Hall went on and made a load of them, string of them, with all the top anglers in, you know, with Mark Downsey and Bob, of course, and Ivan, you know, Jan Porter, you know, yeah. So anyway, that's for people who didn't know. What's this? Mark saying, "Hi Clive, I could do with a bit of ice on fishing long pole, along the hand." Yeah, well, that used to be the method years ago. You know, it's really, at this day and age, I don't know. You know, I remember when I first fished long pole to hand was on the River Wye at Belmont, and I was the first to do it, and I never forget. I fished a big overshotted float. Somebody come along and said, "What are you doing, fishing a pipe bung?" I said, "Oh, I got a pipe bung." I said, "It's a, you know, like a big pear-shaped float, overshotted, holding back." And I never forget. I was in an area just by the pump house, and I was catching dace, you know, with this long pole to hand, and holding it back. Everyone else was struggling, you know, on the feeders and anyway, I turned around, there's a big crowd behind me, about 20 of them all looking. And that was the born of the pole to hand on the River Wye. I think everyone uses it now, don't they? Yeah. So yes, I did make a video of that, and you know, you can have a look. I think Liam Dale's got it in his collection somewhere. Mark, don't know if we are related. You never know with a Branson, you know. I mean, the Bransons were hanging judges years ago. Right, Peter Morris, hiya mate. What's your thoughts on payouts? 30 quid fish a match and only 40 quid for a second year. I know. Should the money be paid to the top 5 to make it worth your while? Well, do you know what? Hiya Bob. Bob's watching. He said he'll pop in. Say hello. Yes, right, Pete. Well, my thoughts is this. There's a lot of good anglers out there, and you know, unfortunately, these good anglers tend to win, or always in the frame. And we know, you know, there's Sheppy and you know, Lee Gardner and people like that. And, you know, when you go up the Avon, and I suppose if they would take the lion's share all the time, I think a lot of anglers would get a little bit peeved off about it. So I don't mind this spreading it about. I mean, yeah, I would like more than 40 quid for winning the 6-peg section, but personally, I am in favour of small sections because it helps to pay towards the overall, you know, cost of the match. As I mentioned earlier on, it's cost me 80-90 quid every time I go up to the Avon. So, Bob said, Clive Birdie's had me mowing the lawn today. Never. You've actually done some work, Bob. Don't believe it. Strep pegging, Lee Butler. Well, basically, it's stick float fishing where you're holding it back and you're strep pegging it along, you know, and you're letting the bait rise up in the water. And yeah, it's yeah, some good methods. I mean, as I say, we don't fish the stick float as much as we used to now, but as I say, we do fish on the Y quite a bit. You know, big sticks, bolly floats. Talking about that, as I said, back in the 80s and 90s, I used to like to think, you know, that was a little bit innovation, because that's the only way you could really become good, or if you like, beat other anglers, by having little innovations. And I've got to tell you a little story, because everyone now fishes, or they use their stick floats and wagglers on winders. Well, I can tell you what happened to me many years ago. Fishing the World Club Championships, we managed to get through to Switzerland, 1984 I think it was. And anyway, I was fishing a match on this river, and it was belting through, and the guy next to me, I think a Swedish guy, and some other Italian, anyway, next to me, and they were fishing a pole, and I always believe you fish to your strength. So what I done, I was fishing across, you know, and with I think it was using an Avon, a little Avon float to get the bait down quick in this fast flowing water, and I was beating them. I was beating them on both sides. But anyway, next thing I looked round, and it's the Swedish guy next to me. When he just hold on, and all of a sudden he pulled out a rod already made up with a bloody float on it, everything made up. I thought, I haven't seen that before. Then it got me thinking. Then, well, why don't we bloody, you know, set up stick floats and wagglers on winders? So anyway, so when we come back to the UK, I wrote an article about it, funny enough, putting stick floats and wagglers on winders, and of course I think, you know, everyone does it now these days. So I like to think I was one of the first to actually cotton onto that idea. And I know, in fact, somebody did ask me, how do you tie the line from the winder to the rod sometimes, you know, to the your rod and reel line? Well, hi Steve, Langdegford, yes, I fished Langdegford many years ago, yeah. What's that there? Good one for you, Bob, who did look up 270s, 80s. Yeah, well, I don't know. It was Kevin for me. I think Bob was probably the same as well. I'm not sure. We'll have to ask Bob on that, who his heroes was. But yeah, anyway, coming back to, I got a float here already on a winder. This is a bolly float. Now, most times all you do is do a water knot, okay, and that is quite strong, you know, although sometimes you know, if you snag up you can snap, and after a while when you're bagging, you know, you got to be a bit careful. So there's a couple of ways of doing it. Big loops to loop seems to be one of the better knots, you know, that's a stronger knot, but I don't particularly like that. Now what I do, if I can show you, when I got my stick float on a winder, for example, and I tie it on the main reel line, okay, what I do, it's a little tip, once I got the depth of the water, what I do, that knot, see that knot, I pass it down through the float, okay, and I'll actually wrap it round the float. Now that gives me real good strength then, and you know you're not going to snap off if you're snagged up. You know, you lose your hook length rather than your float, and also you know, as I say, you can go a whole match then without any fear of the knot actually weakening and breaking. So that's a little tip there. Sometimes you can actually put the knot below it, but of course then you haven't got the strength there. But if you do it like that, that's a very good way of, obviously you need to cut that down. But I just tied that together just to show you exactly, you know, the saves. Of course, you can't do that with a waggler. With a waggler, you'd have to use, you know, either a water knot or a loop-to-loop. So that was a question somebody did ask me. So, hiya Gary, Scott. Right, just missed that question. I think let's stick float fishing because rivers are much clearer and clearer. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, Raf, you know, as I say, pole fishing is, I never get, I done an article back again in the 80s, and Chris Taylor, an old Welsh Raven angler, and he worked for Bayer Line, and I did at the time, and we done a feature on the Welsh Raven, and basically the magazine got me, I fished the pole, he fished the waggler, and I beat him. I beat him, and I said one day, you know, understatement here, I said one day matches will be won on the pole on the river. Yeah, but then I realised most matches are bloody won now with the pole on the rivers, especially on the Avon, the Welsh Avon and places. But there you are. Scott, hiya Scott, Malcolm, right, so as I say, that was another innovation, of course, you know, as I say, stick floats on winders, wagglers on winders. As I said, I also like to think that maybe, you know, with a lot of the ground bait that I brought back, you know, of course in them days you didn't have the census and you didn't have the big Vanderlines or all the other companies now that are making it, so, you know. Hiya Malcolm. Yes, anyway, so let's have a look. Yeah, I was, a lot of you probably know that I actually go to Thailand now. I try to get in the winter, but of course with this lockdown it's going to curtail that for a little bit. But I met some really good anglers, good friends over in Thailand, because there's a lot of expatriates that actually go fishing over there, and you know, John Wilson was one, for example. He unfortunately passed away over there. I don't know how, but yeah, you know, I heard that he had a heart attack and they couldn't get him to the hospital in time or something. But anyway, but I got very friendly with Billy Macon. Now Billy, I didn't know Billy years ago, but I knew of him, and used to obviously, you know, look at his read his articles in the papers, and you know, probably bought a couple of his floats, I think. Anyway, I got to know him over in Thailand, and he got his own bar. He got 2 bars. And I tell you what, he's a real nice guy. He's unfortunately don't fish anymore. I invited him to come along and on a match over there, because when I went to Thailand, the whole idea of me going to Thailand was just to have a holiday, and I went with my brothers and we had some good fun over there. And but then I thought, well, you know, we went for a month. I thought after the second week, I thought, I'm getting fed up. Let's going clubbing and getting drunk every night. I got to do something else. So I got to know a couple of the fishing lads, and as I said, and then we a guy named John Harvey who used to have a fishery called Castaways, and I met him and got to talking, and I knew his dad, and we used to fish against each other over on the Huntsville out in Somerset, and that's where I got to know John. Anyway, so me and John, we said, well, you know, do you have matches? Obviously, well, not the Thais don't really have matches, you know. Well, they do, but it's different than what we're used to. So we put a challenge up. Me and him, we started fishing together, and he's a good angler, because he obviously, you know, Thailand fishing is slightly different than ours. So it's very similar in the fact that you fish wagglers and so on, but you know, it's the fish, you know, you've got to be careful. Some have got spikes, some have got bloody teeth, so just got to be careful with some of them. But we had these matches. Then in the end, we got a couple of other expatriates to fish, and in the end, we were getting 10, 12 anglers fishing. It was good fun. Of course, a lot of the fish you couldn't keep in the keep nets. You had to basically weigh them individually and then add up your total, or sometimes we'd have matches where you'd have different species. But anyway, as I said, I come back, and thankfully John and the few anglers there have kept the matches going. So, you know, I like to think I introduced a little bit of match fishing over in Thailand, and, you know, anyone wants to go for a holiday, that's the place to go. It's great fun. Hi Russell, I used to be gagging about this. Yeah, I am. Yep. Yeah, no, yeah. Once a year. I mean, I went to Thailand and done this silly thing and met a woman and got married, so now we got a baby, so there. But I'm hoping, she came over here, she was over here for 5 months, and she's come fishing in the winter. She was absolutely freezing to death, not used to the heat, or the cold I should say. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm looking forward to going back, of course, the end of the year. That's if they allow us for this bloody lockdown, you know. It's a bloody nuisance. You know, I don't know what your thoughts are on it, boys, but, you know, and all this hype about, oh, we can go next week, come this weekend. I can't see it, because, hi, David. Jamie Rich, hi, mate. Yeah, so, you know, that's my thoughts on it. What's your thoughts? You can leave your, you know, leave below what you think about that, you know. I know we'd all love to get back out there. Hi Mark again. No Billy and Ray Bills regular on the Midland Canal Circuit. Yeah, good turnouts, although they often ban bloodworm. Yeah, well, unfortunately, that's the worst thing that the angler fraternity did, is the ban bloodworm. I was reading an article the other day. I think yeah, Steve Ringer was on about bloodworm, and I never forget. I had again in the 80s when I was. You know, going around fishing all these invited matches. I went to Mallory Park, I never forget. And in them days, we used to scrape our own bloodworm. And, you know, you think nothing of scraping a gallon and take a gallon of bloodworm with us. Anyway, went to Mallory Park and everyone was fishing away. And I thought, oh, well, let's try this bloodworm. Put the bloodworm in, cupped it in. Well, the swim just fizzed. It come alive. Bloody carp everywhere. I was fouling, hooking them, and they were, oh. So when people tell me, like, you know, it's a shame, you know, because if bloodworm could have been a fantastic bait for carp, you know, all sorts of records could have got broken, I reckon. Hi, Steve. Mark, Clive, what is above Radawea? And of course, oh, right, well, he's talking about the River Taff there, which is local to South Wales. It's mainly grayling. In the winters, fabulous. You can catch 20, 30 pound bags there. There's the odd chub, and there's the odd barbel. I haven't seen any. I did catch a couple of roach a couple of years ago, but if you want to catch roach, they're further down the Taff, you know. Hi, Graham. Oh, Mark Jones. Let's see, Mark, on you. Yeah, so, as I said, it's this lockdown is, again, a bloody nuisance, and, yeah. Right. What's the time now? Right, I've been on you an hour, and I don't want to stay on you more than an hour, because I think you get fed up and fed up of listening, and, you know, of course, I could, you know, go on all day really talking about fishing, which is great, but I want to give other people a chance. Robert Marsh, yeah. So that's it. The only thing I can say, if you've got any ideas to improve this match fishing group, then I'm more than happy and welcome to, you know, listen, and you know, and I can change it. I set up another group if you really want to sell your tackle, because the other thing, I was getting a lot of traders. Now, it's cheap advertising for traders, especially when you've got a group like ours, like nearly 21,000 on it. You know, it's cheap advertising for them, isn't it? You know, don't get me wrong, I've nothing against them, but they do take the mick up sometimes, and so I decided at the very beginning, and I did actually put a poll up, you know, for all the members to ask them, you know, would they mind tackle companies coming on you, and most of them said no, they'd rather, like, you know, not have them, so that's the way I've kept it. And that was it. So there you are. So any ideas, you know, regarding the group? I'm going to try and get more guest speakers. I do a little series talking to legends, and I try to, you know, get talking to some old anglers and about the old days. I've done a nice one with Ray Braisley the other week. That was quite good, you know. As I say, I like to think I innovate a little bit, and certainly these sort of pages help. And YouTube is another one. I know it's part of the question when people join the group. You know, I always say, would you like to, you know, join my YouTube, free YouTube channel? And the only reason is you know, I think I see that as bigger than Facebook, to be honest. And I'll tell you for why. I put a little video up of a dolphin and harassing this woman underwater, you know. and I put it up, and you know, I've had nearly 1 million hits on that on YouTube. I wouldn't get that on Facebook, so I thought, well, that's it, you know. What's that? David Newt, have you ever fished a Shannon at Port? Many years ago, I probably only, yeah, I think I did fish a Shannon. I can remember, but it wasn't one of my regular places I went. No. Lee Butler, when you come back to Thailand, bring me a catapult. Yeah, Liam Dale's been after a catapult. I know. Trouble is, I got very friendly with another Amazon Giant, it's called. It's a fishing lake over in Thailand, and he's an English angler. He's a carp angler, actually, and he bought a load of gear over. And the only trouble is, with the heat, the elastic on the catapults perished. They were just no good. So yeah, I can understand. If you do take a catapult, keep it in the fridge or something, because I'm sure that heat gets to the elasticity and it rots away very quickly. Can I get Dave Hallel on, says Russell Grave. Well, I may have mentioned earlier that there's some anglers for some reason I fall out with. I'm not saying I fall out with Dave, because I always say hello, you know. But the trouble is, I open my mouth too much, and he slayed me once about the way the Riverfest was run. So, and I had a lot of people, you know, sort of on his side, and so I just and he banned me from his bloody website anyway. So, but he's more than welcome to come on, yeah, Russell. So there you are. Yeah, just looking through a couple of notes here now. Yeah, as I say, I hope this bloody lockdown finishes as soon, because I think we all want to get out there, you know. But as I say, in the meantime, we can, you know, maybe interact on here, and I'll try and get some more videos up here. I made about 380 videos on YouTube, by the way, so I'll try and get a few, you know, I'll try and get a few up on here if I can. As I said, they're very informative, and, you know, it keeps us... you know, keeps away from the boredom, doesn't it? Which is the main thing. I'm hoping to get Bob back on here, because Bob's very popular. You know, he's a wealth of knowledge, and as I say, he's a good friend. He's helped me build the membership up over the last week or so. I mean, we've had a few hundred new members. Yeah. Oh, like what Mark says, it's like being the old closes. And I suppose it is. I think this time last year, though, I was fishing down at a place called Port Talbot down in South Wales, and that's where I'd be now. And you know, there's no close season then. It is some fantastic fishing there to be done. So yeah, if we look at it that way and think, well, yeah, it is like a close season, then it's not that bad. But let's just hope by June the 16th that it reopens and we can get on the rivers, you know, get on the lakes and so on. Well, I just, you know, a lot of people said about the commercials, why didn't I go into commercials? As I said, I think a lot of people agree that you can't be master of everything. You can't be master of commercials and a master of naturals. So that's the reason that I didn't follow the commercials, although that's where the money is by the look of it, and some great weights to be caught. Yeah, so, what's Russell saying? He said the heat and the humidity rots everything down here, yeah, in Thailand, not just elastic. Yes, I know. I don't know where you are based, Russell, but if you don't Pattaya way, you want to give John Harvey a call. He's a great guy, honestly. He broke the world carp record, 400 odd pound. Yeah, massive fish. But he's a nice guy, you know. He's a keen match angler, you know, as well. And he's just started a YouTube channel up. Yeah, definitely worth, you know, looking at his videos and following him, you know. Well, the other guy I like to get back on, it was Jamie. Now, Jamie done a good one the other day. He had, in fact, he had quite a big following. He had about, I think, over 2,500 views on his post. Not all on the same day, like, but because you know, it's like this, you can go back and look at this later on again, you know, and the following day. But yeah, Jamie Robbins from Cadence, nice guy. As I said, I got to know Jamie fishing the Avon, and then actually he's a very good angler because he can be a whopping. He came second in Riverfest 2 years ago in the final up at Shrewsbury, and I was next to him. I lost a bloody chub, didn't I? I lost a big bloody chub on the net, which got me in the main money, but there we are. So, you know, that's what happens sometimes. Right, oh, just a little bit of advertising now. This is for Billy Making. As you know, he's a very good writer. Anyone who follows him. Gary, Ben, you've left a bit late. I'll be going off in a minute, but anyway, Billy Making, he's a great writer, great guy, and he's written a couple of books. One I'm going to plug is called Fishing and Testicles. And I tell you what, I read it twice now, and I'm going to read it again soon. It's brilliant. Obviously, it's not an autobiography, but it's more or less like an autobiography. All right, Ben. Yeah, Russell. Oh, 500 clicks. Oh, you're 500 clicks from John. Okay, very good. And the other one, Billy Making. Russell, get down to see Billy as well. Tits and Teeth. Now, these books you can get from Amazon, by the way. And they're, you know, only about 10, I think. You know, it's definitely worth getting, especially in this lockdown now. You know, something to do, something to read. And mine. Don't forget mine. My autobiography. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough of that. Oh, just one last thing then. Groundbait, as I say, if you want to know a little bit more about Groundbait, go over to the website. There's lots of things you could learn. You know, I believe Groundbait catches more anglers than fish. That's my theory. And I explain why, you know, if you go to the website. But there are some ground baits that do work. I made one in particular, which is a very good seller at the moment, called Black Green Ground Bait. Now this one, I made it up and for fishing Port Talbot. And anyway, all I can say is that everyone's using it now. It does catch a lot of fish. It's got, you know, as well as a crumb in it, you know, and a lot of fish meal. But I put a lot of aniseed, bit of salt in it, which is, you know, quite surprising. Fishing in a brackish water, put salt in ground bait, but it works, you know. The other thing I want to promote as well is that I'm doing ground bait in actual paper bags now, because I think about the environment. And as I say, I think, you know, if anyone does order ground bait off me, you know, try and get it in paper bags, because it's, as I say, biodegradable. You know, I'm not saying that you know, most anglers are very you know, conscious about the environment, and they will take their bags home, but a lot of people, unfortunately, they drop out their bag and they don't. So yeah, just quickly show you that. That's a maggot bag. It's actually just a cotton bag, but I learned this little trick from the Italians when I was fishing many years ago. I think it was maybe on the Arno. I remember the Italian team all turning up with all these bags hanging out of their windows on their cars, and I thought, what the hell's that? Full of maggots. And as they were driving, all the cool air would pass through it, and that would keep it, you know, that would keep the maggots nice and cool. But not only that, you know, because it's not a rigid like a bait box, it's actually like a bag. You can, it'll fit in any shape in your luggage bag, so it's very handy for transporting maggots. There you are. So that's you know, I'm doing these for $2.99. Cheap enough. If you go on eBay, they're about £7, I think. Anyway, that's enough of my advertising. Howard, hi Howard. Listen, I'd like to get you on here one day, because I know you've done one the other day, I think, for one of the streamers, so that would be nice. Michael Kirk, hi mate. Right, as I said, I've been on here a while now, been on here an hour, so I'll call it a day. And as I say, I'll answer any more questions if you like. What was that, Billy? Oh, you went. Oh, right, yeah. You went to see Billy, did you? And you talked about everything except fishing. Yeah, that's Billy. Yeah, I think he done so much in such a short time that it sort of overloaded him, and I think that's one of the reasons why you probably don't fish these days. But as I said, I did take him, did actually come fishing with us one day when I was in Thailand, and he sat down, and I thought I might encourage him, but he was happy just to sit there with a few beers and chatting away. Anyway, as I said, nice to see you all, lads, and thanks for all subscribing. As I said, we've got 21,000 now on here, which is fantastic, and it's growing every day. I've got new members joining us, and you know, as I say, it's a great you know, vehicle to air your opinions, to post things, and also as I say, if you want to sell anything, you're more than welcome. I haven't stopped that, by the way. You know, you can still do it, but just don't overload it. That's all. Right, what's this? Russell Graves. Have you ever had a couple of pints pick escape? Yeah. And a shag pile. Yeah, never go. A gallon of bronze maggots once on a brand new carpet. Nightmare. Yeah, I could tell you. I got some stories. I could tell you about the time we went to Ireland and the pinkies escaped. The pinkies crawling up the side of the bloody ferry. Whoa, unbelievable. But that's another story. Maybe I'll come back one day and talk to you about that. Anyway, thanks lads for tuning in. As I say, keep in touch, and you know, keep following us. And I think Monday we got another legend coming on, Colin Perry. And I tell you what a record he got. Fantastic. I don't know if you've seen it, but he's fantastic. And even I got a few questions to ask him. So yes, Russ, it's been emotional. Anyway, all the best, boys.